We do have Lee Richardson from the Brain Performance Center. Talk about this situation, pretty alarming. Ariana Grande and her brain scan demonstrating PTSD, showing us what it looks like. And Lee, for most of us, we don't really know what one scan to another is supposed to look like. Obviously, you can see a difference. When you're taking a look at like Ariana Grande's brain scan, what does it mean and how traumatic is it?
Well, when I'm looking at that picture, I'm looking at blood flow. That's a SPECT scan. And there are so many different ways that you can look at the brain. But the importance is to understand that the emotional trauma does live in the brain. I mean, I look at the brain differently. I do a quantitative EEG. But you can see that trauma in the brain. And what I think is so important for her to take a stand at that young age to say, hey, I am affected by this, and bring attention to the fact that it's okay to experience trauma and to ask for help. Mental health is as much about what's going on in the brain as it is what's going on in the mind.
Is it possible to be able to recover to one's former self, to completely get past the symptoms or PTSD, or once it's with you, is it always with you?
I think that you can recover. I know that you can recover. I've worked with people and I've seen that happen. But that starts with creating regulation with the brain, because the trauma lives down in the brain, down in the amygdala. And if that brain is dysregulated, that trauma just keeps spinning at that subconscious level 24/7. And eventually it'll work its way up and, oh, no, can't deal with that now. But once you teach the brain how to get into a regulated state and let that trauma go, then you can resume your life. And you can take yourself to an even higher level. A lot of people learn and they grow. They use their trauma as a source of personal development. Pretty hard to do, but people do it.
Lee, when you're taking a look at PTSD from the brain's operational perspective, is it all the same? In other words, a veteran in the field fighting a war and what they might be battling, would that be the equivalent of like Ariana Grande, who was on hand during a terror attack and having the emotional trauma of having lived through that experience?
Well, I think that trauma impacts everybody's brain differently, because you have to remember there's your genetics. The way your brain is wiring to start with, genetics impacts it. Physical trauma impacts the brain as well. And somebody that's in a war zone, certainly they probably are being affected by physical head trauma as well. So I think that it's not a direct apple-to-apple comparison.
Okay, that's interesting that it can end up manifesting itself in different ways. And is there anything on gender studies about this as well? I've not really heard anything about, the PTSD effects on males versus females. Is there anything that you're aware of?
No, I'm not, actually. We're just now starting to understand that PTSD exists in the brain. And it's not just something that we need to get over, process it, let it go. We can't. It exists down in our brain.
And
without help, we cannot release it on our own.
That's what I was going to ask is the one thing at this point we are aware of is that if we think we might have symptoms, or if we have loved ones that we think might have symptoms, it seems as though it's pretty important to have it treated. And I would imagine that's your analysis here.
Absolutely. And that's what I got excited about this story is because sending the message, hey, it is okay. There's no reason, I think she talked about in her article, I really wasn't impacted to the same extent that other families and people were. And I shouldn't even be, complaining. And that's what we do. It's just like when bullying is going on. It's not just a person being bullied. It's not just a person doing the bullying. Everybody is impacted from it.
Well, appreciate it, Lee. Thank you very much for taking the time with us. Always good information. Lee Richardson from the Brain Performance Center.